Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to a long-awaited third episode of Overanalysing Creepypasta here on the network. It is my pleasure to present this program to you today, as we have something quite special in store. Firstly, introductions. My name is Brady, or the Overanalyst, and I am joined, as always, by my good friends Martina, or Seth the Overwitch, on Twitch and associated social platforms.
Hi all.
And Mate, or Comrade Potato.
Howdy.
And, oh man. For the first two episodes of this little reboot, I decided to examine some stories I had never even heard of before, but that's not what we're doing today. Oh, no. Today, we're actually going to be hunting one of the big fish. We're going to be going after one of the easy targets, if you will. We're going to be mounting an inquest into a story deemed to be of such low quality that it was scoured from the internet. Remember, the people who said, "We will defend God Toilet," that said, "We will claim that story about Mario getting killed by xenomorphs after murdering, like, everybody in the Mushroom Kingdom." They wanted nothing to do with this, and they wanted all records of it expunged from the net. But as you know, on the internet, nothing ever really dies forever. So today, join us as we tackle one of the most notorious video game-based creepypastas, quite possibly of all time. Oh, you probably know this one if you're watching this program, and I'm so excited to read it for the first time in years, for all of you. Really quickly, though. Guys, people love making scary stories about Mario games, don't they?
Apparently, yeah. I don't know, something is terrifying about an Italian plumber diving into pipes and saving the princess.
We never have found Luigi. And
yeah.
I think Luigi may factor into this story as well. I don't remember, but real quick, Mario Brothers 3, Super Mario Brothers 3. Fair to say that's a pretty well-regarded game, right? To say the least.
Yeah.
People in our generation, either that or Mario World, were likely our first real exposure to, like, more traditional platformers, right?
I mean, mine was still the first Super Mario, but it was mostly because at that point there was quite a lot of those, made from China consoles that just had 9,999 games that were all Super Mario. So
ROMs and ROM hacks, right?
Yeah,
basically jailbroken emulators.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah, so it's safe to say that Mario and the whole early Mario canon, such as it is, holds a very special place in the nostalgic core of so many people's hearts. And since the creepypasta industry thrives on a combination of nostalgia, plagiarism, and a complete and total lack of any proof or beta reading, it makes sense that, well, Mario and other nostalgic properties would feature heavily in the works produced by the creepypasta community. And today we are going to be tackling one of, maybe not the most, because Mario's been putting in overtime for years on the creepypasta circuit, one of the most notorious Super Mario creepypastas of all time, based on Super Mario Bros. 3. The creepypasta's title is Blood Whistle. Now, really quickly, as I said, this was scourged from the internet, so shout out to Mate for digging up an archived version of a page on the, quote, LOLpasta wiki, or Trollpasta wiki, because this creepypasta was deemed to be of such low quality, it was, and this is true, exiled from the creepypasta wiki to this secondary site they had reserved specifically for those stories they deemed to be so bad that they were either clear and intentional comedy pieces or so bad that you couldn't, like, differentiate between whether or not they were comedy or just a very poor, serious effort. Everything
but that's so fascinating. Like, the other creepypastas we read had in the comments, like, 8 out of 10, 9.5 out of 10. And like, this is apparently worse than that.
Oh, it is.
I've seen some comments. You might be surprised at the end, Seth.
I'm sure. It's like Newgrounds. They love everything.
Okay.
But, man, oh man. Guys, follow the link in the description. Go read Blood Whistle for yourself. Just to confirm that I'm not making this up, nor am I exaggerating it. This is the worst story we've read, and might end up being the worst we read for the duration of this series. I'm not joking. because Blood Whistle, unlike a lot of the others, takes itself very seriously. And it's about
Right.
a haunted copy of Super Mario Bros. 3.
Again.
This one's better. This one's better.
Okay.
All right. Are we ready?
Mm-hmm.
Ladies and gentlemen, onward into the breach. Now, this is written diary style, so we're going to be receiving these little dates indicating separate entries every couple of paragraphs until things really hit the fan. Okay, let's see here. Forward. This is the recorded blog of a college student who is playing a modified version of Super Mario Bros. 3 on his computer. Shortly after submitting the last entry, he committed suicide in his dorm room. That's the official story, but you know Nintendo's lawyers got to him.
Yeah. They first copyright stroke him.
They copyright smote him.
Oh, okay. Next.
We're having too much fun already. Okay. June 5th, 2012. So this is from the perspective of the college student now. A friend of mine recently sent me what he claims to be a scary Super Mario Bros. 3 hack that he wanted me to try out, parentheses, because he didn't have the courage.
Dot inside the parentheses?
Oh, yeah, you're right. That is incorrect. Punctuation should be outside of parentheticals or quotation marks. Well, not always quotation marks, but usually those as well. Good eye. But yeah, no, scary Super Mario Bros. 3, college-age people, not even gonna attempt to play the game. Alright. I started this blog to record my progress through the game. He got this, unspecified this, from a site that's no longer active, and I've seen some pretty scary occurrences with emulator games before. Just look at Ben. Oh yeah, I have. It's much better than this.
Yeah.
Little tip. I think we pointed this out before because it occurred in one of the stories we read last time around. Generally a bad idea when you're trying to present a work and its conceit is more or less original, like, hey, here's something I'm giving you that you haven't read or seen before, to directly acknowledge, hey, here's something else in this field that people really liked. Because when you do, moving forward, I'm going to be comparing this to the thing that's regarded really well and that I probably really like.
Yeah.
All of that aside, however, there was something definitely off about this ROM. Its title was SMB3:BW. Anyhow, I won't play any today as I'm quite busy with college work and such, but I will definitely start tomorrow. The person who wrote this was not in college. I promise you that.
Oh, I'd just like to point out one more thing.
Sir.
There's a version of this called Blood Recorder, which is apparently written in, like, ghetto talk.
Oh, no.
Oh, wow. So this story is so infamously bad that it got a remix.
It has fan fiction.
Lol Pasta Wiki.
Oh, wow.
June 6th, 2012. Dung dung. I played some of the game today. Obviously, my friend was misinformed, as I played all the way through 1-3 and have found nothing irregular. All the sprites, levels, and sounds didn't have a fluke to their name. That's, very awkward word choice. That's not correct either, I don't believe. But anyhow, all the way through 3 levels, wow. Doesn't that game have just under 100 total?
Yeah, it was pretty big.
Like maybe 80-something?
Yeah, I'm not sure, but it was pretty big.
It's a healthy sample size, though. 3 stages, it checks out. Wait, ... A secret! Capitalized A as if it was a different sentence. Bad author.
But like, that's not how you write a diary. That's how you talk to a person. Maybe, just like...
Yeah.
Get like a voice memo as you're doing it.
Yes!
But not like at the end of the day when you're like reminiscing on what happened and being like, wait, a secret?
Have this be the transcription of like an audio log, and you would fix not the grammatical errors, but you would definitely fix the tone issue here.
Yeah,
that actually holds true for a lot of these diary-based creepypastas, because you're right. Tina, in pointing out that they tend to be written as though the author was writing something down as they were, for instance, running for their life.
Yeah, and I mean, this makes no sense because it kind of feels like he's setting up a cliffhanger in a diary. Like, what, he's trying to surprise himself? Like, making himself stay tuned for the next entry in his own diary?
I mean, hey, he was in college. Maybe he was on some really hard stuff. I don't know. A secret. That must be how you have to unlock it. I swear, you guys. No comma after I swear, so just I swear, you guys. I'll find the warp whistle tomorrow and see what creepy secrets this game has to hide. Look for tomorrow's post, comma. It won't disappoint. Citation needed. Maybe this'll explain what the BW in the title stands for. ... Very bad writing here. Very, very bad. Let me explain what's wrong with this, and I promise I won't keep us bogged down too long because it gets much worse, and we would be sat here for 4 hours if I tried to pick it all apart as, like, a writing instructor. But the way this little paragraph is written betrays an author's foreknowledge of what's going to happen for the rest of their story. So, he says, wait, a secret. You know, like the little warp whistle you can discover early on in World 1, in Mario 3.
Yeah, that everybody knew.
Sure, no, of course. He's saying there's definitely something scary behind that, I'm sure. Instead of, I don't know, playing through the entire first couple of worlds, maybe, and saying, there doesn't seem to be anything off about this game. Well, wait, maybe I should try using the warp whistle and accessing, like, the warp road or the warp world and see if there's something off there, because so far this seems like normal Mario Brothers 3. Add some kind of credibility to the notion, or some credence to the notion, that your protagonist does not know what's going to happen to them. They say, maybe this will explain what BW in the title stands for. They haven't been wondering about that before, so the way this is written and presented to us is that they are setting up exactly what's going to happen in very clear terms that stops just short of the author inserting a little author's note, fanfiction style, and telling you what's going to happen in the next chapter. This is very poor, it's very sloppy, because nobody thinks or writes like this when they don't know what they're in for.
Yeah, but can I just add that considering he wrote Wait for Tomorrow's Post, it might not be like a diary, more like a forum thread or something.
Could be, yeah.
Okay, let me see. A recorded blog, you're right.
Okay. Alright, makes a bit more sense, yeah. But now, still, you wouldn't say, like, wait, a secret!
Now, it is still written, though, however, as if he's recording and posting these things every day after he gets done playing.
Yeah.
But good point, fair point, Mate. Okay, June 7th, 2012. You remember what I said in our first episode about a lot of creepypastas taking rather mundane events and playing them up to be far more frightening than they are?
Yeah.
That is the cardinal sin that Blood Whistle commits, and it begins here. I wish I hadn't unlocked that secret. This game will be the bane of my existence. I'll try as best as I can to explain what happened, and what will certainly entail. What? That isn't what entail means. I will explain what happened, and what the remainder of the experience will entail? I don't know. I think he means what will certainly ensue.
Yeah, like what will happen. I'm not English and I still think that's wrong.
Yeah, he means ensue, because he means, like, I will explain what happened and what I am certain will happen.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know if any of you will believe me, but the sick mockery of one of my childhood favorites must be exploited? Exploited?
What?
Explained, probably?
Explained or expunged, maybe, and never be seen by the eyes of any other breathing man on God's green earth. Yeah, no, he means explored.
Yeah,
or explained, one or the other. And Todd, what I'll call my friend for the sake of privacy and possibly security, do not send that link to anyone else. You'll see why below. So he's already up on 10, right? Like, I'm expecting this game to have just started speaking to him like, chanting curses and oaths in the voices of his ancestors, right?
Yeah.
No. I entered the castle stage. Knowing its only secret was the warp whistle, I disposed of a dry bones before donning a raccoon tail. Somebody broke out the thesaurus for this one. With a running start, I was flying above the stage until I hit the secret area. My whole life, before I hit up on my arrow keypad, was completely different. I was happy. I was normal. I could wake up in the morning, recognizing my own reflection, being absolute about my safety. Now it's lies. All lies.
Wow, drama queen much. Can you get to the point?
Before I hit the up arrow on my D-pad. Let's see. I know that as of what happened today, my life will become an infernal hell, redundancy, in which every day will be a futile struggle to retain my own sanity. After finishing this wretched collage of electronic dejection, I will embrace death like a long-lost lover with open arms. Now to get on with what had come to pass. Can y'all believe this?
It's terrible, apparently.
Collage of electronic dejection. I think this dude might have seen into the future and written a review of Immortal Unchained.
Or Cyberpunk.
The blocks that lined the wall were a gloomy, albeit polished, obsidian black. I don't think there are different shades of like black, right? It is like a pigment that absorbs all color.
Yeah.
Depends if you're talking about like... Well, there are some like super black colors that you can... Like paints. They are making that like absorb almost all light.
But the issue here is, again, we're going to see this throughout. They're explaining levels of detail and nuance present in like the presentation that are nowhere remotely near what like an NES or even like the SNES remake could achieve, right, with its graphical software.
Yeah, pretty much.
Mario's skin had a grayish tint to it, but that wasn't what was wrong with that picture. The music was a sped-up version of the normal bonus room theme. Toad's skull was cracked open and profusely bleeding, spilling blood onto the floor and making the room slippery like an ice stage.
So, guys, for those of you that didn't open up yet the page itself, they actually include a screenshot of how the game looks like. And it actually looks... not creepy at all, and I would not say that the toad is bleeding from his skull. It kind of looks like he has a scarf or something, but...
Yep. But the blood coats the floor and introduces ice physics to the bonus
apparently.
Stage.
Yeah.
His mouth was also agape and spewing blood to the floor.
No, I think he was just trying to tell you that the princess is in another castle again.
Toad, do we need to get the doctor?
Toad, you okay?
The blood had an eerie, reflective quality that should have been graphically impossible for an 8-bit game like Mario 3. I walked up to him to see what it is that he might say. What he had to offer is this. Blood whistle! Hear its cry! I then ran towards the chest to see its contents. The chest was drenched in reflective, realistic blood of the same type emanated by the orifices and exposed cranium of the poor little mushroom-headed fellow. They really got some use out of thesaurus.com, didn't they?
Yep.
I do not believe somebody with this level of narrative crafting skill knew all of these words by heart.
Definitely not.
Pressing onward, I ran through it to discover its dark secret. Its twisted surprise. I wasn't prepared for the following events. A blood-soaked warp whistle ominously rose from what I now believe to be the deepest crevice of hell. It blipped twice as the normal whistle would. That, my fellow reader... Fellow reader? You're writing it, my guy.
You're the writer, not the reader.
Yeah, if you were the reader, you would be apologizing.
Yeah.
Was the only normality of what I have played today. It played a deep tune that I can't get out of my head as I write this. The whistle descended, violently striking Mario in the chest. He unleashed a blood-curdling scream as it went into his back and out of his chest. What? Oh, okay, so, like, it impaled him and then removed itself. I thought he was describing it impaling him from the front, then again from the back in the next sentence, but I don't think that's what they're getting at.
Yeah.
This cry wasn't 8-bit at all. What?
8-bit cry.
8-bit sound? It wasn't even cartoon-esque. It was the sound of unfiltered anguish, of utter agony. His expression reflected the same. To end my experience on this perverse version of something I once loved, pretty sure they meant of, Mario was transported to the warp zone of the blood whistle. I call it this.
Okay.
Oh, what were you going to say?
No, I was gonna say, like, oh, okay, that's a lot of descriptions of something that should not be possible on an 8-bit
That's true.
platform, but
you see, they said it wasn't possible, so it's okay.
Yeah, so it's okay.
I call it this because it had only the cookie-cutter outline of the quaint island. The water consisted solely of the same blood aforementioned in my encounter with the whistle. Corpses of Koopas and other enemies of Mario were scattered afloat near the shores. Scattered afloat? No, they were afloat. Or they were scattered about the shallows around the shores or something like that.
Okay, so we know that the writer used thesaurus, but we never said that he's using it correctly. He's just using it.
Like, okay, so they're using a lot of these terms, I will grant them this, in a largely correct, if often awkward context. Like, they're using a word to mean what it generally does mean. However, the issue here, like, scattered afloat, where was it? Near the shores, is that they're used in context or in sentence structures where they would then need additional clauses or words to properly fit them in, like, you know, in the standards of grammar and syntax, and those aren't used, because they know what they're wanting to say, and they find a word that says it, but they don't know how to make that word fit in properly. White, menacing eyes glared at me between the waves, surfacing just to cast their evil glance at Mario, parentheses, or me. I can't be sure at this point. Hey, period outside of the parenthetical. That's something.
Wow.
All of the words. Getting better, very slowly, in much the same way that, like, that dull, aching pain you have 3 or 4 days after getting your wisdom teeth extracted is slightly better than the scorching pain you have on day 2. All of the worlds were indicated by their respective numbers, and all the dots were crimson. At that point, I noticed yet another abnormality, this time concerning the dot for World 8. Beside it were 2 8-bit patches of fire that twisted and contorted in place. Without me pressing any buttons, the whistle stabbed Mario in the ribs. This cued him to move to the World 2 dot, refusing to pay any further attention to the horrors that surely await in the distorted desert. I saved the game and quit. I've played more than enough of my fill for today. Nope, that is also not correct. You would say, I've played more than enough, or I've played my fill, or more than my fill for today. You don't need both.
I guess he has more fills in a day, so, you know.
I guess that I figured out the acronym from the ROM title meant Blood Whistle the hard way. Despite the horrors that plague this abomination, I will continue to subject myself to this suffering for the sake of all of you. Well, also for mine. It'll help me keep track of the days, and maybe this desperate attempt to cling to my stable frame of mind won't prove to be in total vain.
What does he expect to achieve? I mean, of course it's going to be in vain. He's playing a video game.
What kind of phrasing is in total vain, also?
Okay, there are different stages of vain, you know?
Oh wait, it gets better. There are 5,000 people that have followed this blog in the 2 days it's been up. After this pointedly interesting post, I'm hoping to have some more.
Blowing his own whistle. Baruch.
Would anybody else?
No.
For those of you following my posts, read tomorrow's and share with your friends. I need you to expose the stark luridness of this shell of something I once knew and loved.
Smash the subscribe button. Press the like button. Don't forget to turn on all the notifications.
Guys?
Yeah.
Was this person like a 3 a.m. blogger? Like kind of the predecessor, the spiritual predecessor of all those 3 a.m. challenge YouTubers?
He just needs an Ouija board. Summoning spirit of blood whistle.
Oh man, so thoughts so far, guys?
Feels like a child wrote it.
Yeah, it feels a bit, I don't know, like it's lacking something to make it at least...
it's lacking horror.
Convincing.
Also substance.
Most of them lacked horror so far.
Hey, I think that the god toilet was very scary. I don't want to shit under a spotlight.
Bad grammar was scary indeed.
God Toilet is unironically still the best story we've come across so far.
Unfortunately.
Okay, let's keep going. Also, something to keep in mind, this person's a college student, so they would be presumably attending classes and working, doing other things than just stayed locked up in their, wait, no, it was June. Sorry, it was during the summer. Never mind. But they would still be working, I presume. Wait, no, hold on. I'm sorry. They say earlier that they would get around to playing the ROM hack after finishing up some work, some schoolwork. Yeah. But it was June. That's a month into most program summer vacations here in the U.S. So either they were attending summer classes or they're attending an irregular program, or more specifically, the author paid, more realistically, I should say, the author paid absolutely no attention to the dates they were using.
Or maybe
exactly.
He's not American.
No, that as well, but even still, most in university systems around the world would have irregular sessions in the summer. It wouldn't be standard, unless he was like in grad school.
I don't know. My college, I think we had class until end of
June.
Yeah, like mid. No, mid or end of June, and then we would have free time until start of September, I think.
Oh, okay.
Or start of October.
Unless you were bad and had to do some tests in like June and July.
Unless you sucked, yeah. Maybe this guy sucked.
Sorry. 1 second. Phone just went off. Great. My blood glucose monitor telling me that I'm dying when I'm perfectly healthy again.
Right, and then your parents panicking that you're dying twice in 2 days.
Yeah. Okay. June 8th, 2012. Well, I did it. I managed to clench the fickle fibers of my perception of reality long enough to play through World 2. I've come to the conclusion that whoever made this is completely and utterly deranged. Oh, I know the feeling.
Yeah.
There's been a rusted gear or a broken spring in the mechanics of their sadistic mind. Their only purpose in creating this mod was to mentally and psychologically flagellate the naive soul. They actually included the umlaut in naive. Poor enough to take the bait of its mysterious origin. Well, I'm certainly naive enough to fall into that category. I digress, to the experience. Yeah, no, this is not frightening yet. If anything, I would have played that and thought, oh, that's kind of funny more than anything else.
Yeah, and like he's been like bashing on the poor author of the ROM hack. Like, come on, like what did he do to deserve that bashing? Like,
yeah, no,
don't insult people for having imagination.
7 Granddad is scarier than this.
I mean, Seth, you're saying don't insult people for having an imagination while reading something
Look at what we're doing
and wrote down.
You know, do as I say, not as I do. Okay.
Look, use your imagination unless your imagination is shit.
Exactly. Also, don't insult other people's imagination unless their imagination is shit.
Yeah, like, don't insult people's imagination unless it's this guy.
What was it?
This guy is free game.
There's an old adage in the entertainment industry. Seriously, it, like, trickled down to me through my family because my dad used to hear it, like, out on the road all the time. They would always encourage performers, musicians, anyone like that, this way. It's always best to be yourself. Unless yourself is an asshole. Then be somebody else.
Yeah.
Let's see. I find myself asking how I could have missed major things like this yesterday when I saved the game in this world. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. Blood of the same texture from before was just as splattered across the desert sands as sand itself was. What?
How
Sand
what?
was splattered across the sand then?
Yes, sand was splattered across the sand and blood as well. So it was a combination of blood and sand on the sand.
Yeah, well, sand gets everywhere, even on sand.
So it was like a boardwalk hot dog then. Like 50% blood, 50% sand.
Yes.
Okay. Oh my god. Solitary eyes watched me from the pyramids. Here it comes. Pentagrams and other satanic symbols were also infrequent in the environment. Could this hack be the work of the Illuminati?
Oh my
What?
God. Seth triggered.
Like, honestly, I'm gonna edit like my screen to just be like, and I'm gonna leave this in so you know I did it on purpose.
Okay.
Seth with the pentagrams on her shirt.
Seth, are you the work of the Illuminati?
No, I never heard of the Illuminati.
Let me see. Okay, enough pondering. I need to finish this grim tale. Skeletons of Koopas littered the bleak landscape. There was a distinct disturbance with Mario's appearance, though. He looked starved and parched, as one would typically look after a few days in the desert. Mario then moved into the 2-1 block without my command, and the music began to play shortly after. This was a reversed version of the Overworld theme. Whispers and other paranormal phenomena could be heard playing in harmony with the music, saying cryptic things. If it's a soundtrack, there's nothing paranormal about it. Demonstrably so, at least. Oh, Seth.
Can I? No, I'm just gonna keep it like this.
There you go.
Perfect.
Let's see. After about a minute, I began to record the sound. I'll upload it as soon as possible, but I know I definitely can't do it today. It never surfaced. One of the most distinct things I kept hearing was, "Let the whistle guide you." And one of the most distinct things I kept hearing was, then they list two different things. Have you noticed a running theme in the stories we've read that our authors seem to have a really persistent problem with, like, distinguishing the singular from the plural?
Yes.
Oh, right, so, let the whistle guide you, and the instrument of blood plays the sweetest tune. Sure. This creeped me out, needless to say, but this of all things wouldn't prevent me from playing out the remainder of this game. The stage itself was very scary. All caps.
So scary.
The sky
Very
was grayish blue, accompanied by an almost white sun. The colors weren't bright or cheery in the slightest. The pyramid blocks were faded and cracked, and the wooden blocks were obviously rotting. Mario's sprite was visibly starving and pleading for thirst?
Please, don't give me any water. Please don't give me any water.
No, maybe pleading from thirst.
No, that's pleading for water, I guess. God, come on. The fire creatures, I guess they mean those flame cobras in World 2, fixedly stared at me like a shark stares at a school of fish, seeming to know who their next meal was. The neutral expressions of the Koopas had changed into ones of converged disgust and loath. I had obtained the raccoon by now. What? Think they mean the raccoon tail.
Yeah.
I obtained the raccoon by now. I'm picturing thin, emaciated Mario just twirling a raccoon overhead by its tail like a flail. So I ran along the pipe-looking platform and took off. I flew for a little while, which was nice. Mario's face changed as well, being the normal happy smile you usually see throughout the entire game. I relished in the few moments of happiness I sought from this game. These moments were mercilessly ended within the course of a few seconds. The sky flashed a gloomy black. What? The sky flashed
Gloomy
black.
How do you flash black?
I don't know. I don't flash to black maybe, or like alternating a black and white pattern. But
I mean, back then, black was pretty bright because you couldn't actually like get.
It would be like bright, like green, like.
that's
green,
true.
black, something
That's
like
true.
Still, it makes no sense.
A gloomy black, though, before the blood whistle came and impaled the poor plumber yet again. Oh, I love this next sentence. Mario fell, his corpulent figure going limp, until he hit the ground with a thump that I swore I could feel.
Thump.
God.
I love how you guys... Yeah, you guys aren't enjoying this story as much as you are just cringing.
Yeah,
Well, sometimes
my
we
butt cheeks
enjoy it
hurt.
with cringe.
He
I
was
don't.
miraculously alive, his body twitching in a feeble attempt to rise. A fire creature jumped on Mario, who was now pinned to the ground and screaming in pain. His scream was bitterly realistic. It reeked of such ineffable means flawless. It reeked of such ineffable pain, it hurts
Such
me now
flawless
to
pain.
describe the sheer degree of torture this character was put through. There he was. New sentence. Burning and seething in pain, and there I sat, completely powerless, forced to watch what I thought was the end of his trials on World 2. I was so wrong. The level select came into view. Whistle threw back. Okay, whistle threw back. Mario was transported to one of the pyramid levels. When the level started, the background was in egregious. Egregious means, like, objectionable and obvious. Like, wrong. Smoke-filled black. Bursts of lightning filled the sky with illumination. Winged demons in flight were visible upon these strikes. On the lightning strikes? Also, in the skies glowed stagnantly lit pentagrams. Stagnant does not mean what you think it does. And 666. Mario was being carried by two of Bowser's sons up one of the game's pyramid structures. However, this particular structure was vastly different from the regular ones. The bricks were cracked and faded with age. The edges were dried. Sorry, I have a fly buzzing around somewhere. With dried blood caked each block. With dried blood caked each block. Yeah, okay, sure, whatever, that's wrong. Nothing but a heavy drum beat, and the sounds of thunder played in the background. The thunder didn't play in unison with lightning as happens in most games. There was an eerily realistic pause between the flare of the lightning and the boom of the thunder. As the top of the structure was reached, I saw the worst thing yet. Bowser towered above everyone else, intimidating and terrible.
Oh no!
Bowser from Super Mario Bros. 3, who I'm sure you will remember looked more like a stuffed animal than anything else. Below
But he
stood
towered.
4 sons, 2 of which had carried Mario. Morton, Iggy, Ray, there is no Ray, that's Roy you're thinking of, and Von Koopa. Above the entire scene were the words blood whistle in bright red neon letters. Neon, great. Bowser's face had to have been 10 times more evil than I had ever seen it. How do you quantify evil in an expression?
Evil, eviler, evilest.
Right, but that's only a 3-step graduation, Tina. They're talking like there's at least 11 increments of evil. Or 11
Evilestest.
True, okay.
Evilesterest.
And then, like, once you get all the way down to the bottom, you hit Fallout 76, and then the scale crashes. Let's see. Bowser's fate, blah, blah, blah. His green shell was cracked, and his white spines, I think they mean spikes, had been dipped in blood. Blood was fresh on his teeth also, as his serpentine tongue licked them, making clear his intentions on what to do with Mario after he had disposed of them. It was then I came to a dooming realization. I'm not even pointing out the grammatical errors or poor word usage anymore because it's like ubiquitous. This is written from the perspective of someone who thinks the more eloquent the words, the more eloquent the writing, and that's not necessarily true because a lot of this
Yeah.
isn't used properly. It's not used in an intelligent, mature manner. It's just thrown together. They seem to think that waxing in like cosmic horror-esque purple prose adds more weight and intensity to a situation, and it can, provided the situation itself is suitably intense. Remember, so far we're still just playing a fairly goofy, like light horror ROM hack of an NES game. It's not even like the SNES remake with slightly more realistic
Yeah.
graphics. Advanced graphics.
Realistic.
Nothing has happened to this character outside of the game at all.
Yeah.
It's just a weird little hack. You cannot make that have any greater weight so far because of the content itself. So it would be better if you dial a lot of this purple prose, a lot of the horror and trepidation in the author's dialogue back, and have them quite plainly describe what they're going through, what seems odd about it, how some maybe of the textures and the models didn't look like they could be realized on NES hardware, and think maybe at first, oh, that's cool. You know, the author of the ROM hack was able to really play around with the graphics components. Don't start on 10 and then keep escalating, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Let's see. Right, so what's that realization? Mario can't die. The game won't let him. However many things are thrown at him, in however many ways he's brutally maimed, mortality will not escape him. What? Mortality will not escape him? That means that Mario is going to kill death, eventually.
Yeah.
Can't wait for that final boss battle. For a time, that is. He will continue to be sustained by whatever dark force or sick mind that drives the rest of these occurrences to passing, until the game's eventual end, in which he will ruefully and painfully perish. Now that that has been said, to continue today's experience. I don't think they know how tone works at all, to be honest.
No.
Suddenly, von Koopa, whose actual name is Ludwig von Koopa, produced a dagger. It gleamed with uncanny realism in the light of the blood whistle sign that loomed above. I'm just picturing like a Vegas casino neon sign.
Yeah,
blood whistle.
yeah.
Hear its
Just
cry tonight at 8.
Ding, ding.
After a brief pause, he began to slice Mario's chest open. Mario again brayed that fearful cry like a donkey? Yeah, that's braying. A cry that implied he would die only to endure a torture of 10 times the magnitude. We love our multiplication by the power of 10, don't we?
Yep.
Tears streamed down his face as Vaughn removed... He thinks Ludwig's name, like Vaughn is his given name. Von Koopa. As Vaughn removed his heart, still pumping, he handed it to Bowser, who ate it with a crunching chomp. Wait, Mario's been sacrificed atop like a Machika ziggurat or something?
Apparently, by a guy named Vaughn.
Right. His sons laughed as he did this, blood flowing from Mario's exposed abdomen. With a bark from their twisted father, the sons shamelessly began to regurgitate and tear apart what was open. They began to puke?
What?
Yeah, they began to regurgitate and then like keep tearing Mario apart.
Wait, like, with a bark from their twisted father, the sons shamelessly began to regurgitate and tear apart what was open. So they're tearing apart the open...
They started eating him, not...
Yes. But this is even better.
Yeah, I'm sticking with what I think it is.
Right. I'm sorry. We might want to put something down in the description because this is one of those stories. Even though the story is remarkably poorly written, It does get pretty graphic with some of its imagery and themes later on. There's nothing especially egregious, but this does get a little squickier than I would typically like. So, if that's something you're averse to, dear audience, please don't persist down this route with us. Just know yourself, know your limits, and take care of yourself, please. This one gets a little gross. As they were doing this, Mario slowly turned his head toward me and uttered a single question through tears and blood. Why?
Oh,
I
wow.
asked myself the very same question. Why would they treat him as an animal, if not less, for their amusement? Why would someone initiate the genesis of such a horrid contraption? So why would they begin the beginning? A contraption in which... This is something else several of these authors have done, isn't it? Like the redundancy in their descriptive language.
Oh, yeah.
A contraption in which life and death have no meaning and are manipulates. A contraption in which concepts such as morals, remorse, and mercy are completely foreign. It makes me shudder to think that there's someone sick enough out there to put a character through this kind of unbearable hell just to sit back and laugh. It makes me absolutely sick to my core.
Makes me giggle.
That reminds me of another thing. You're probably wondering as to why I complacently talk. Complacently means you stand by and do this kind of without any serious investment in it. So that's not going for consistently. Why I complacently talk about Mario as if he's a human being. A human who suffers pain, sorrow, depression, starvation, and thirst like the rest of us. A human who's also capable of feeling happiness, remorse, goodwill, and love like anyone else. It's because I'm thoroughly convinced that he is. Please, don't stop following this blog because you think I'm insane. That'll come later.
Wait.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What were you going to say, Mate? What?
No.
What stood out to you?
Forget I said anything.
He gives up on life.
I believe without a shadow of a doubt that inside this game is a character with a complex range of emotions. Someone who feels like you and me. But it's just a game, right? It's just a contrived mixture of code and data put together to present words and images, correct? Yes! Oh, wait, no, sorry. Wrong. I know, with everything inside of me, that Mario has to be alive.
We believe in Mario.
I don't.
We've got one more paragraph in this entry. Then we're going to take a break and just unpack this, because, oh my god. I know, I have seen him truly happy and truly sad, and at one point, I may even see him truly angry. Oh yeah, you just have to read that story we covered last time. He was very angry.
He was very angry.
Also, kind of drunk, probably. He feels like any other living, breathing human being. I don't know how. I don't know why. I don't know how something so human could arise from something so truly inhuman. A character with a soul seemed completely impossible to me before I played this hack. I now have a goal with this game. To keep this poor creature safe. I suppose I now know the real truth. I'll see you all tomorrow. Same place, same time.
But wait. To keep this poor creature safe, he already got his heart eaten and torn apart by the Koopas.
They puked all inside of his chest cavity, apparently.
And then
he's been impaled like 4 times.
That's
You're doing a really good job, my dude.
Seems like the more you play the game, the more Mario's going to suffer.
Yeah, I would just turn it off.
Right. No. What do we think so far? Is this... Did I oversell Blood Whistle?
It is about as horrible as I expected from what you said.
And from the backdrop of the site we found it on.
Oh god, yeah, the backdrop is just...
Which, if you guys aren't following along with us, is a photorealistic illustration of Patrick Star from SpongeBob SquarePants with a, like, MS Paint Santa hat and beard overlain. It's amazing.
That basically describes this entire creepypasta.
So, what do you think is the biggest problem with this so far?
the tone of the story.
Mhm.
Yeah, I really understand now what you said when you said why you said that this story takes itself way too seriously.
They're also expecting us to be horrified by things that, at least in the context of the genre, right, video game horror, are fairly mundane. And again,
Yeah.
nothing's happened outside of the game to suggest any kind of supernatural occurrences. It could
But
just be,
like,
ostensibly, a very well-made ROM hack, or with more advanced textures and all that, because I know
yeah.
several games have been released like this, a fan game with original software or something like that masquerading as a ROM hack, yeah?
Yeah, but this is like, he's terrified apparently from blood because Toad having blood dripping all over him and blood being on the floor is something very scary, when in reality it's something that we girls see once a month, and it's quite okay, to be honest.
And he's also implying that, like, immediately killing the tone by saying, oh yeah, also the blood made the floor all slippery, like an ice stage, whee!
Yeah.
Um,
It's also hell to clean up.
He also flips back and forth between a very, very, like, formal, overwrought tone and a very casual one
Yeah.
at a whim.
Yeah,
And
like, be bloggy
yikes.
if you want to be bloggy, but just don't then use words that apparently you don't even know what they mean.
Exactly. All right, let's carry on. Are we ready for June 9th, 2012?
No, but we're gonna
Probably
go
not.
anyway.
Yeah.
All right. It's me again. Hi, author. I had a horrible range of nightmares last night that are a direct result of playing this game. Some really weird stuff also went down.
All 8-bit horror.
Lay it on me, bro. Before I get into today's gameplay, I'll have to go through them with you guys, so I'll have an interactive record of my dreaming habits related to this game. I myself am having a hard time as to know how they were so close to home, and what they mean for my seemingly inevitable downfall. Here it comes. Here comes the real life or real world integration. Hold on, I need, just in case, for this next bit.
A gun?
Need a prop.
An asthma inhaler.
Oh! Right. I mean...
Just in case, this is my emergency exit.
I don't have anything on hand, but I'll go and...
In the fourth
You can
grade,
just pretend.
I used to
wait,
play...
while we're doing this, just give me 2 seconds, I'll be right back.
Yes, sir.
He's gonna go take his alcohol.
This is a fairly cheap cooking wine that I've used for like a couple of, I think, a stroganoff or two. It's, our audience probably knows, I don't drink, but just in case Blood Whistle decides to cause a sudden paradigm. There we go!
There we go.
Yeah!
Oh, yeah.
Appropriate.
Ooh! It's that Skull vodka.
Yeah.
Nice.
Lovely.
Very lovely.
Alright, we're all set. Are we ready, friends?
Let's go.
Before I tell this, I have to let you in on a piece of relevant information. In the 4th grade, I used to play the recorder. Every kid had to learn some musical skill, and I liked wind instruments because of their method of play, appearance, and sound. Such is the irony of the instrument that has caused me all of this grief.
Wait, recorder?
Yeah, you know, like a simple flute for usually played by children.
Okay.
But it can be used in more like sophisticated compositions or pieces. It just very rarely is. Isn't that right?
Yeah.
In my dream, I was playing the instrument in a dark room. I was my 4th grade self, just coolly playing Mary Had a Little Lamb.
Wow, dude.
Mario had a little lamb.
And then it got impaled by the blood whistle! God!
No! Not the blood whistle.
It was sacrificed on top of Bowser's Casino!
Sacrifice to the Illuminati.
Out of nowhere, I began to cough. I had choked on some blood that had materialized within and around my recorder. It covered it, and soon filled it. Blood began to pour in great quantity out of all the recorder's holes. It soon began to float in midair and hover. Those
And
are different
hover.
things, apparently. A few seconds passed, and then it struck me in the chest. Sorry, it struck me in the chest. It had impaled me, going directly through my heart and every other vital artery one could think of. I woke up, the sheets plastered to my bare chest with sweat. I was completely fine, not a scratch on me. As I sat there in bed, afraid of how I'm sure the game did this, or maybe it was just me losing my sanity, began to hear noise coming from my laptop. It was closed, but a faint, muffled humming sound was clearly audible. You know, maybe it was running some automatic updates or something like that.
Maybe you forgot to turn off your porn before going to bed. And now it's the commercials playing.
Now that's a creepypasta I definitely don't want to read. Let me see. I warily approached my computer, the machine almost looking alive. I then opened it up. It was a picture of a Super Mario Bros. 3 Raccoon Mario sprite on a black backdrop. He was chained up by his legs and feet, and the chains reached outside of the screen. The blood whistle sat as the centerpiece of it all. Through Mario's chest. The tune of the blood whistle played over and over, a loop that only exacerbated the sound within the walls of my psyche. God's sake. I tried exiting out of whatever this program might have been, but the window wouldn't close. I eventually had to take out my laptop battery, which didn't sit too well with my OS. Luckily, I didn't lose any files. Now for the gameplay. So yeah, he's being haunted by a recorder. Just an actual recorder full of blood.
Yeah.
Playing what I can only presume is like an 8-bit rendition of... I don't even know. I don't know. This story is painful. It's painful.
It's painful.
I was on a weak imitation of the World 3 level map. The water was none other than blood.
Dum dum dum.
Who else but blood? Ravenous fish jumped out of the water, looks of primal hunger on their faces. There was something off about Mario's map representation that I noticed right away. Along with his raccoon tail, the blood whistle was now a permanent fixture through his body. His skin had dulled a little from its prior shade of gray, now more outwardly noticeable. His mustache now had dots of red clung to it as well. Without Mario's control, needless to say, I was moved to the first underwater stage. A cherry red tint absorbed the entire screen. This was to be expected, as the water looked blood-ridden from the outside as well. I swam down the left side of the level to get a fire mushroom. Fire mushroom? You mean fire flower?
No. Fire mushroom. Specifically made for this ROM hack.
Yes.
He becomes a big ball of flame, I guess.
And every time you launch a fireball, Mario screams as his hand combusts.
Turns you into a first-person shooter, I guess.
Ooh. Hey,
awesome,
there's enough
actually.
blood in this to make it Doom. Let me see. As soon as Mario got it and his outfit changed, he got an evil simper on his face.
Evil simper?
He's looking for smirk, I think.
Ah, smirk.
He looked at me and said... Oh, wait, what were you going to say?
I was gonna say, like, simper? Like a simp?
Simp?
Yeah, like an evil simp?
If
That would be
only.
interesting. Aw.
He looked at me and said, "Revenge, yes?" I confirmed his suspicions, and then we set off for the danger that lurked near. The fish cast malevolent gazes at Mario as he swam by, incinerating them. His normal, happy smile returned. So did mine. The annihilation of the carnivorous critters didn't last long before both Mario and I faced a hellish dilemma. They really know they're Mario and don't know the names of the enemies.
Oh,
You
yeah.
knows that?
Or the name of the power-up.
That is true. There was a large fish with rows of razor-sharp teeth. Below him were 2 power-up blocks, one black-looking and one purple-looking. I assumed that these were supposed to mean red and blue. Obviously, there was no progress from this point without finding out what those blocks had in store. Mario's expression changed back into its gaunt appearance. You cannot have a gaunt expression. You can have a gaunt appearance, though. It's like if you are thin and kind of It refers to like skin or other features being kind of stretched over a frame. Knowing I had no other choice, I dauntingly hit the block that was black in appearance on the left. The fish swam around from its position on top of us. In top of us? What? I know what they're going for, but in top of us. And began to tear off Mario's limbs. By this time, a group of fish had congregated around the entire scene. Their laughs were deep and short, registering as barks for the 8-bit sound processor. Mario's unable body wobbled as he bled out, spewing black across the red. When he finally died, the big fish began to laugh. After a couple of seconds, Mario's limbs regrew. With the blue block remaining, I hit it to get this all over with. Bubbles stopped coming from Mario's mouth. He cried out for help, but that only made the problem worse. He sucked in tons of water, his hands around his neck. His face began to grow from gray to blue in a matter of moments. He kicked and he fought, but only wore himself down. Getting angry, he began to incinerate random fish that had gathered in the crowd. The fish began to laugh louder. For every fish he killed, 2 more appeared in its place. After a while, he just gave up. I guess this ROM hack was made by Hydra then? I watched as Mario uttered his last gurgle on World 3, the blood whistle stabbing and taking him away. I saved and quit with haste. See y'all tomorrow. Thoughts on that?
Well, Mario is bloodthirsty worm, apparently. I don't know.
Mario's always one of the villains, or like an anti-hero at best in these stories, isn't he? Also, where's Luigi?
What happened to Luigi?
He's in his mansion, just enjoying his life.
Ah, yes, good. Hey, though, I will highlight that section for one thing. Our author temporarily, for just a couple of paragraphs, dropped the purple prose, dropped the overwrought tone, and just described the freaky, irregular gameplay that took place in that underwater stage. Here's what was different. Here's what was unusual. There were these new mechanics and blocks and visuals and all that. And that, compared to everything else in the story thus far, was fairly well written and kind of compelling. You're telling me about this unusual thing you're exploring. This is what made the legendary NES Godzilla creepypasta, which was accompanied with hundreds of totally original images cobbled together from custom assets designed for the game by the author, so good. It's just exploring a weird piece of media with us until things get really bad out of game. That, compared to everything else, I don't know how you guys feel, but I think it was great compared to the rest of the story we've read so far.
Yeah, I want to see what the hell happens next, because I don't know what kind of bullshit can he throw in this creepypasta anymore.
I think I'm gonna start drinking soon.
There you go. We've got 4 more entries.
Oof.
June 10th, 2012. I think you mean let's go, Tina?
Let's go!
To the blood bank, apparently.
Yeah.
Campus police gave me a visit today. Apparently, one of you had reported my comments related to suicide and claimed I was insane. Did they say anything about suicide?
No.
I don't think so. As a result, I've eliminated all personal information from this blog. I located the person who reported me and banned him. I also have an IP tracker, so don't any of you try that.
Wow.
Sure. Speaking of followers, 50,000! I had never expected this page to accumulate this many active viewers. Wherever this popularity or notoriety came from, I'm grateful. Now for today's gameplay. After today, I'll be lucky to finish the game. We were just taking on a tonal roller coaster over the course of that paragraph, weren't we?
Thank you everyone for being on my channel. We very much appreciate you. We would never, ever, ever be here without you guys.
Also,
I don't know.
Also, if you criticize us, we have an IP tracker. We will find you. We will find you. We will ban you. And also, thanks for sharing. Oh God, I hope I can do this. Will my sanity endure? Princess Toadstool's letter appeared after the previous screen from World 3 faded out. She was squirming and shifting around. Bowser's hand covered her mouth and nose, but it was easy to see the fear in her eyes. They darted left and right in stark, true fear, as opposed to that fake fear that you get down at Walmart. Bowser continued to have that sadistic smile on his face as he struggled with her. After about a minute and a half... Another common thing with these video game pastas, they're very precise with their timing.
Again,
Peach
yeah.
began to change. Her eyes grew an ominous reed as she pushed Bowser's arm away with inhuman strength. I think she meant, or he meant they glowed an ominous red, but God love him, he tried. She cackled like a loon, blue veins bulging so noticeably that they were clearly visible through her white satin gloves. Bowser then began to cower in timidity. The text on the letter said only this. Blood whistle. Hear its cry. Peach. Peach. The letter scene was abruptly cut off, and the World 4 level select map was brought into view. Goombas and Koopas of all sizes appeared, furious and hungry as ever. They weren't too furious in the base game, I don't think. This edition made sense. This was the giant tiny world. The shown enemies would be dimensioned as such. Yeah, it was Big Island, Iggy's world, which was my favorite in Mario Bros. 3, just as an aside. The normally green grass was withered and dead. The small patches of water were what, kids?
Blood?
Very good! Mario
And
was
sand
still...
and blood and sand?
No sand here, just blood.
Oh, okay, just blood.
Mario still was in the fireball fatigues he donned in World 3. Fatigues? Mario joined an artillery corps somewhere?
Apparently.
When compared to the other worlds, the map view for this one was vastly less disturbing. I would go so far as to call this tolerable. I wouldn't. Mario moved towards 4-1, into whatever nightmarish scenario this stage had to offer. The stage had the usual kinks of any level in this game. Okay. The sky was black, which made the white clouds vibrantly contrast. Some stages in the base game had a black skybox, right?
Yeah, the night ones. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. A reversed version of the ground level once again played. I think they mean reverse version of the ground theme. The wood, as it had been before, was decaying and wasting away beneath Mario's feet. The pipes were faded and cracked in various places. All the enemies still possessed the same carnivorous looks of their inter-game counterparts. Inter-game? Like, between this game and another, is what that word usage means. But this is, at least, I know I'm getting a little pedantic here, but this is the same game, ostensibly, as Mario 3. There was oddly enough a startling abundance of them. Koopas and Goombas danced around in a ritualistic manner. Mario was visibly petrified as he tried to avoid them, my arrow keys keeping them inches away from his life. Amidst the all of the den, good grammar once again, there hovered a solitary power-up block. It was regular in appearance. Nothing was outwardly off about this, which greatly surprised me. Not knowing what horrid item it contained, I bumped it in blind vain. They do not know how to use the word vain. If you bump it in vain, that means that either it does not respond, in the context of like a power-up block from Mario, or you do not get what you've been hoping for. You cannot bump something in blind vain. That maybe it could help me. That maybe it could help me is its own sentence, which, while not necessarily grammatically incorrect, makes no sense here. You can most likely infer from the intonation I made in the preceding paragraph. Intonation refers to your tone, or like a... Never mind. That I was completely mistaken. What appeared next is what I dreaded. That damn whistle. It was sitting there, blood washing over it as it rose from the yellow square. It sat there, almost beckoning my name. I know the feeling. With the imposing enemies, I knew I had no other choice. I took the weapon from its place, fruitlessly hoping for the best, readily expecting the worst. Actually would be a great motto for this series, wouldn't it? The on-screen foes ceased all activity. Their faces returned to a neutral, blank state. 5 minutes they stood in place like this, not moving a muscle. You just sat there for 5 minutes? I jumped around and
Apparently.
tried to kill them, but to no avail. It's almost as if they were frozen within the confines of time itself. Oh yes, the confines of time, my favorite Zelda game.
Mm.
As if for specifically them, it's terrible, like, composition. All... What? As if for specifically them, all interstellar and physical continuity came to a careening halt. What does interstellar mean in that context? What were they going for?
No idea. That makes no sense whatsoever.
Then they began to move. After the first couple had did it, Oy. I realized, capital W, what truly was going on. This was a mass suicide. Most of them just jumped in the nearest hole, but others performed incredible feats of acrobatics and medical possibility.
Medical
Possibility.
God damn it, dude.
Is this the one that's going to break our commentary panel, finally?
No, but it's gonna make me drink soon.
I'm gonna have to
crystal
sit down
vodka.
for the rest of this.
And actually use the
quite-
cooking wine for drinking.
Yeah, probably. I'm just gonna go get some medical alcohol and just straight to the head. Whew. So, the quality of the writing has actually gotten significantly worse with this entry, hasn't it?
Yep.
One Koopa was bashing his head in on a pipe. Another Goomba jumped 6 or 7 times his own height, turned around in the air, and sent blood flying everywhere with a great splat. They never refer to the Goomba, like, landing, so I presume it just exploded. Soon, all of the enemies are dead. The remains were spontaneously upchucked from the trench below. What is it with him in the puke imagery everywhere?
I don't know. He apparently likes the vomit, yeah.
A grisly mixture of guts and gore littered the entire remainder of the level. Mario shuffled through the remains, horrified, with tears streaming on his face throughout. Mario's face is apparently in, like, a social media streaming platform. Nice. Random, deep, bassy tones played with nothing else to accompany. So, like the intro to a smooth jazz song. Gotcha. Realistic, squishy sounds were emitted every time Mario took a step in the scattered carnage. He continued to cry for the duration of the level. The whistle faded into view and followed Mario a few inches above his head, like a pestilential virus. That's redundant. Not exactly redundant, but...
I'm just waiting
Not
for that
true.
bottle of wine to fall. Like, sad ending for that wine.
I will have
Sad
to mute
ending for
myself
me.
for a couple of seconds, minutes.
Alright. After he
Are you actually
cleared it,
starting to drink?
the whistle went straight through his chest as Mario was headed to World 5. The game has a habit of putting me where it needs me to be, so I closed the window without saving. Witnessing all of that death really racked my nerves. Sure, it might be a game, but with the things this game has had to present to me, I'm starting to lose my perception of reality. I'm starting to wonder to myself what is real and what is inside the computer. Those are the only two states. There is no real and fake. There's real and computerized. The more you know. These two things are quickly fusing into one. The lines, ... they're blurring. Pretty soon the days will start fading together, and by then I'll have lost all sense of reality. I hope to see you all tomorrow. I don't know how much longer I can put up with this game. No, it's not a game. I couldn't tell you what this is. On that, we can agree.
Yeah.
So, any thoughts on that entry?
Apologies, I'm back. The
I mean, I don't know. Like, as we said, the guy really likes his... I mean, he's really graphic, right?
Yeah.
So I kind of have the vibe of this creepypasta, not as, like, you know, when you have a horror and you have that psychological horror that is really disturbing, and then you have those just like disgusting ones, like Final Destination or Saw or something like that. And I
Like
think
body
that he's
horror.
yeah, exactly. He's completely in that category. Just like make it disgusting, and maybe some people are gonna be scared. But for me, it
Speaking
just
of-
like doesn't do anything. It's just like, Yeah, sure, whatever.
It's been in the background of our commentary because there's been so many things wrong with the presentation. But, dear audience, I hope you can appreciate as well that this author is handling a number of fairly serious and emotionally charged, often quite grave topics, like imagery of suicide and mutilation, incredibly poorly, and I would argue kind of disrespectfully. And we're not done with the train of disrespect, because the very next entry starts with a disturbing theme we've noticed in the video game creepypastas. June 11th, 2012. Today being D-Day fits, because I'm fighting one hell of a war against this game. Parentheses, and a losing one at that. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
What is it with these people and comparing their terrible fanfiction to the horrors of global conflict? Is this the third video game story out of 3 we've read that have alluded to World War II?
Yeah.
Think so.
Okay.
One less than the others, though.
Yeah, that's fair. He's just comparing his scary video game to D-Day, so alright. At least there are no more mishaps with you all so far, which puts me at rest. Ah yes, his audience that he simultaneously loves and hates. As of today's gameplay, I fear for my own life. I feel as if something is coming after me, lurking, seeking me out as to make immediate my demise. Never before has anything like this ever happened. Never before has anything electronic made me truly afraid, truly scared. Bullshit, you have been to a dentist's office before.
Yep.
That machinery will frighten you, especially as a child. I don't care who you are.
Not really.
It doesn't bother me, like, but when I was very little, didn't know what any of that stuff was. Yeah.
Yep.
Nothing in particular. Wait, hold on. I will most likely get no sleep tonight. Nothing in particular occurred. Yeah, I assumed as much. It's just ... You'll find out below. I was in the middle of the cloud portion of World 5. The sky theme played, except it was drastically slow, and demonic whispers were clearly audible. The whispers were almost the same as the ones I heard back in World 2. Mario was outfitted with the Tanuki suit, which naturally suited the environment. There was nothing there except 2 things. There was nothing there, but there were 2 things there. A red dot, A is capitalized after a colon, that shouldn't be, and a card game. The card game icon looked similar enough to its regular game clone, except, minor thing again, but this would be the clone, not the original as depicted in the base game, but whatever. Except the spades rolled across a red background instead of a blue one. Now, for whatever reason, I was allowed to choose which path to take. I chose to do the card game, hoping it would serve as some sort of reprieve from all the madness.
Madness.
That was not the right choice. Toad didn't explain the rules of the game like normal. Instead, I was plunged into the rolling slots. Beside the slots was a risky scenario. Toad was on a guillotine.
No, Toad, why?
He was in a guillotine, not like standing on top of it.
On top of the slicey thing and being like, wee!
He looked at the camera.
Cheers.
With timid, teary eyes. He also was vigorously shaking his head. No, Mario, please, I swear I didn't oppose the revolution! Help!
Wait, what? Revolution? Where is the story going?
No, that's not actually in the story.
Oh,
it's not.
Okay, I was like, what?
Sorry, I thought you guys might have been reading along. No.
No. I was like mindlessly going back and forth and being like, what?
I was making a French Revolution joke, but Toad is one of the retainers of the monarchy, so he'd be on the short list. Let's see. So he was in the guillotine. He shook his hands in a futile effort to free himself from this appalling apparatus, but nothing came of it. The entire picture engulfed me so much I didn't even notice the slots. I cautiously pressed them, trying as best I could to line them up given the stress of the situation. I failed and had to pay the personal price. The
Oh
blade fell
no!
with
You-
breathtaking speed.
Wait. I'm sorry. Can we just focus on the I had to pay the personal price?
Yeah. Yeah,
Giggity.
he had to pay the price as Toad
Personal
gets
price.
killed for his mistakes.
Yeah, poor guy.
Mm.
Toad was beheaded right then and there. His head did a couple of spins in the air before landing in a conveniently placed nearby basket. The initial spins flayed blood. That's not what flayed means. Across the white room, blood filled the basket and filled it up. So it both filled the basket and filled the basket. I'm grateful for that clarification.
Yep.
Toad's uncapitalized now. Toad's body spraying blood from the stump where his head used to be. Out of nowhere, the blood whistle came down and struck his torso. The scene faded out and back to the map. I was moved to the only remaining destination in World 5. Silent lightning streaked across the licorice black sky. Odd description for, like, a specific type of blackness, but alright, sure, licorice, like black licorice. Gray clouds and Mario were the only other consistently visible things. As far as everything goes, silhouettes of winged demons flew and danced in the background. Haven't we been here before?
I think so. It seems like yeah.
Also, as far as everything goes,
yeah,
well, that's not right.
that's-
What were you going to
Yeah.
say, Tina?
I was. No. Sorry, just keep going.
You sure?
Yeah. Just it's fine.
All right. I tried turning into the stone structure the Tanuki suit is so famous for. You mean the statue? But it failed. No music played. None at all. The demons could be heard whispering in what sounded like a variety of languages. Spanish, German, and Latin were the most prevalent ones. A primal fear of the unknown gripped me as I blindly navigated the level. Yeah, this was definitely written by an American.
Yeah.
They hear foreign languages, they just panic. Judging by the look on Mario's face, it plagued him also. This stemmed from childhood, which made it all the worse. What? Are we going to have to perform like a Freudian psychoanalysis of Mario?
Apparently, Mario has problems.
I not only felt like Mario was in danger, I felt like my livelihood and well-being were in danger. At least we're getting something. Like, they feel like they're in danger regardless of whether or not they are. Okay. At that moment, one of the demons swooped down. I would say the most accurate way to describe this creature would be a miniature Cthulhu, of course. Its claws plucked out Mario's eyes, making them profusely bleed. Cthulhu is not typically depicted really with claws, is it?
I don't think so. Just normal hands.
Either normal hands or tendrils, one or the other.
Yeah.
I've seen some where its fingers, fleshy fingers, end in kind of tapered points, but no real, like, talons. Okay, so Mario's eyes get clawed out, he's bleeding. He unleashed an ephemeral yet bone-chilling cry. After the searing pain relented, Mario trudged on. His face was now void of any and all impression. It was because he knew, as well as I did, that he would be torn apart. Brutally and slowly, but it would happen. After a few more seconds, the second demon came. It was identical in appearance to the first. It swooped down with grim black bat wings and did its portion of damage. After it was said and done, the thing had torn Mario's arms off. Mario stopped dead in his tracks. He sobbed loudly, knowing the worst was yet to come. Yeah, he was gonna have to star in Sunshine.
God damn it. Speaking of sunshine.
What? I don't. Mm-mm.
Yeah,
No.
I don't see. It's pixelated. I don't really. Yeah, no, sorry.
Yeah.
I felt so sorry for him that the words escaped me. He continued with a morose look. His normal walk slowed to a shuffle. Not a few seconds after that, the final solitary specter came down. He did his work with one big slash. Mario was now without his legs, and his lump of a body sat there. He sadly wept in utter despair. He knew the end was near. He turned to me and choked out this. I'm sorry you had to witness this. Everything. Also, it's a minor thing, but this author does not start new paragraphs when, like, other characters are speaking,
Yeah.
which is clearly the most egregious thing wrong with this story so far.
Yeah, that... Mm-hmm.
Those were his last spoken words on World 5 before a gaggle of hell's minions descended and tore apart what remained of him. His entrails were liberally exposed as they regurgitated in their cruel feast. Stop puking! I think they mean reveled. Reveling or ravishing is what they're going for, maybe? I don't... But certainly not regurgitating. When the dust cleared, a mere shell of him remained. All you could see of his open stomach were his open spine and back muscles. Ah yes, as we all know, the spine is in the stomach. As I had predicted, the blood whistle came to transport him into whatever hellish situation it contemplated would be worse than the last. We don't get a description, so... sorry. Consider it sheer luck if I make another post tomorrow. If I do, it may be my last. Thankfully, these last two are very short, comparatively speaking.
I mean...
June 12th.
Yeah. No, I was gonna say, the way that he wrote it, considered sheer luck if I make another post tomorrow. Like, why? What's gonna happen? You're completely fine in your bedroom.
I have a very hard time imagining they had a very easy time writing this story, so... June 12th, 2012. I'm starting not to care anymore. Just now! I'm in the throes of such a severe depression, it's all starting to fade away. Everything. School, friends, family. It's safe to say this game is single-handedly ruining my life. Such sadness has never become me ever before in my life. This was clearly written by a young person, a very young person, with a very, very fortunate life. My grandfather died when I was young, but that didn't close to equate with what I'm feeling now. Oh!
So, and they also didn't have any of the relatives die because they wouldn't make that statement.
No. Okay. We're getting, if you've noticed, more and more into what, by a great portion of the audience, would be considered very offensive territory with a lot of this commentary. Has nothing to do with the blood and guts and gore and all that.
Yeah.
But they're acting really callous to, like, play up the horrific situation that doesn't seem that bad outside of playing a creepy ROM hack and some nightmares that their protagonist has found themselves in. You're absolutely
it's just
right.
a creepy ROM hack. Like, it's not even creepy, it's just a weird ROM hack. Like, get over yourself, it's not the end of the world.
Right, no.
The real nightmare is reading this.
Two things. One, you're absolutely right, Tina, about, like, the loss of loved ones. When I was 10 years old, my grandfather, who was, like, my best friend and I saw every single day, passed away. And that impacted me more powerfully than any singular event probably has in my life. Like,
definitely more than a ROM hack weird event.
Right, you don't feel frightened, you're just miserable for a little while. Secondly, getting into personal territory, but I think all of us, right, all three of us at some point or another have struggled with depression.
Yeah.
What they describe is not depression.
Nope.
Or at the very least,
to do with depression.
They are correct in one very, very specific sense in saying, like, oh, depression makes you feel nothing instead of just very, very sad. That is a fairly accurate, if general, representation. But also, a scary video game does not make you depressed.
No.
I guess
that's not the feeling you feel when you're scared.
Is it's working some kind of eldritch influence over his mind, but we've not seen anything outside of the nightmares to substantiate that.
We've had the Cthulhu, we had Illuminati, and we have Satan in the same story, like...
And the worst of all, Mario.
Dum.
Let's see. So that sorrow worse than when his grandfather died, which apparently wasn't that bad, according to this author, I'm steadily growing more frustrated with.
Maybe he was close to his grandfather. You don't know.
He's not. Well, apparently he's much closer to Mario. I don't know.
You okay, Seth?
I don't know why, but I imagined Mario being a groomer. And yeah, just
I pictured Mario being his grandfather. Are you winning, son?
Grandfather.
it's okay. Here,
When
take
I was
$10
your
for your
age-
birthday.
When I was your age, we didn't go to a school. Instead, they had us manufacture our own edutainment software that nearly sunk the entire brand. It was a weird time. It was the early 90s. Nobody had any idea what we were doing.
You know, I'm gonna like clip this and use that as like a voice, like audio clip.
I mean,
Sure.
maybe just his grandfather. Maybe he's Italian. Maybe he's not American. That would explain a lot of things, right?
Wait
Why
a
he
minute.
was
No,
so
no.
close
Wait,
to
who?
Mario.
What?
The dude
Okay.
that wrote it.
Again, maybe he's just really reminded of his grandpa when he sees. No. He just misses Grandpario. That's all it is.
Grandpa.
Maybe his grandfather was a plumber or something.
Aww.
Okay.
On drugs.
World 6 appeared. Ice was everywhere. This is the one part that correlated to the unaltered version. Nothing else did. The ice was none other than what, kids?
Blood.
Blood.
Yes! Frozen, realistic blood. Crystallized pieces of crimson droplets, yes, good. Bordered the ice blocks. Blood filled in the small pockets of water that were. Of course, there was only a solitary dot on the map. Mario entered it, and I knew that whatever was to pass, it would be tenfold of what had already happened. What? I know they're saying like it'd be more extreme, it'd be more severe, but it'd be tenfold of what had happened. Whatever.
Again, tenfold.
Pure sable white was the only thing that constituted of the backdrop. That's not grammatically correct. Blocks of blood ice served as a slippery ground. Mario slid along as I controlled him. He seemed happy. Overjoyed might be more accurate. Here he had nothing to deal with. Just him and the open space. 5 minutes passed. Then 10. This person has a lot of spare time. All the way through, Mario was happy as I let him run around and fly. Parentheses, he had regained the raccoon tail. Well, what happened to the raccoon itself, though? The raccoon was never mentioned again. Is the raccoon okay?
No, I think he killed him and took his tail.
Yeah.
No!
Poor George. We loved him.
Making my way through, let's see. It seemed like he had all the time in the world. The clock ticked and all seemed right in the game. Well, if you've got a clock, you do not have all the time in the world. Making my way through the level, I found out it had no end. Time, oddly enough, would turn out to be the ultimate enemy. At the 20-minute mark, Mario 3's timer would not allow you to stay in a stage for 20 minutes.
Yep.
Just saying.
Yeah.
A tempest began to pick up. A flurry of snow and wind ensnared Mario, and he now began to curl his tail. His teeth chattered and his body shook. He soon had to sit down. Mario and I soon figured out how the game planned to snuff him out this time, with ice and time. He sat and tried to heat himself. This, needless to say, was a less than feeble attempt. Nothing but the creepy bass beats from World 5 played. Mario's skin soon began to turn a light blue. Nevertheless, he still sat and brooded in the icy cold.
I like it how at this point, like, he's saying, like, Mario and I, like, we are a team now. Like, we
But
understand
Mario's
each other.
alive, don't you see?
Yes, Seth.
I'm sorry. Like,
He's alive.
He can
He's
feel
alive.
emotions just as much, if not more powerfully than we can. But he's brooding as he dies. He's, like, sullenly, like, sulking.
Aww.
He will revive as Edgio in the next world.
But
it
where's
was then-
Luigi?
Luigi never existed, Tina. He was just he was just a delusion this entire time. Mario created for himself to cope with the soul-crushing loneliness of wandering through this desolate and blood-slick kingdom of digital depravity.
No, Luigi was just a mushroom trip.
Ah, right, yes.
Ah, yeah, that too.
It was then that the utmost feeling of sadness had encapsulated. I couldn't fathom my sympathy. Sure. I couldn't begin to describe how bad I felt at the fact that his death was absolutely inevitable, and that there was nothing that I could do to stop it. Just simply watch in shock and dejected awe. Frostbite soon took his hands. 10 minutes after
No.
that, World 6 Mario was no more. Just a frozen block of a man, sitting there in the middle of an infinite winter wilderness. After the sadness came feelings of sheer loneliness. I felt abandoned and alone. Just like Mario, sitting in the middle of that ice field.
No.
I felt as if no one would save me from the torture of this game. The blood whistle came down and made a chunk sound as it impaled his chest, taking him to the next level of hell. I closed the emulator window like always, and ended this self-subjected torture. I will bring myself to play this game tomorrow, but mark my words. I'll play the last tomorrow, and then this blog will, parentheses, hopefully, live on in my memory, so my tribulation can be seen by the world. Be here. Same time, same place. Any thoughts on that entry?
Horrible.
He's taking himself way too seriously.
It's getting worse, and
Yeah.
more, like, dramatic with every entry. And this is the last one.
It's honestly a regurgitation of like just words that are supposed to make us feel like, oh, this is gross or something, and nothing else.
Hold on,
Nothing.
it's about to get much worse. We're about to explain. Let me see. Is this the story I was thinking of? Yeah. I think so. June 13th, 2012. It is ironic indeed that today is June the 13th. The unlucky number. The unlucky day.
Okay.
I suppose today isn't completely horrible. Today is the last day I had to play this wretched game. The horrifyingly absurd remake of what I used to see as a wonderful game will soon be out of
You
my
didn't
life.
have to play it.
No, you didn't. You did this to Mario. You did this to
Yeah.
Mario, Bradley. You're the villain.
Wait, his name is Bradley?
Yeah, we're gonna find out in a minute.
Oh, okay.
Along with everything else, with this being the last post, I can finally be honest about my true intentions ever since I finished World War II. Listen to me, World 2. Oh yeah, then he says he's going to kill himself. Yikes. But wait. One of the commenters reported him to campus police for a wellness check days before this.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he said like, you idiots, why did you do that? I'm not, yeah.
I'm not suicidal. I just want to kill myself.
I'm gonna skip through
Exactly.
this next paragraph because I really don't want to, like, narrate what is supposed to be the thoughts of somebody, like, nearing the end of their life. It feels gross and tacky and disrespectful. Long story short, the game made him so upset he sees no other way out. Life will never be the same because of the blood whistle. Tells his little siblings to listen to mom and dad because they could teach them a lot of things, but he can't apply those things anymore. And now he makes sure to let us know he has 75,000 followers now. Well done,
Oh, yeah.
Bradley. And he's going to tell us about the rest of the game. I now resume a verbatim reading. Hell itself is what the game brought me to. I suppose that this was intended to convey World 8. We just skipped 7 entirely, huh?
Yeah.
No, not hell. Worse than hell. Super hell. Bodies were chained up in the background enduring a myriad of tortures. The only pain wasn't strictly felt from injuries, though. It's incorrect sentence structure. The coughs, dying wheezes, and vomiting in the background, again with the vomit, reeked of pestilence and suffering. Fires emblazoned certain people as well. That is not what emblazoned means. Emblazoned means like printed upon or, decorating.
Yeah.
Like you can have, if you're wearing a blazer, a logo can be emblazoned upon the breast. The flames had an actual burning quality to them. Not like regular 8-bit fire. Flesh, eyes, and other internal organs and tissue constituted the walls and ground. If the hell I'm certainly going to exists. What? I think it looks something like this. If he's certain he's going to hell, but he doesn't know that hell exists. Okay.
Yep.
Alright, fine. Mario stood before a possessed Princess Toadstool. Her dress was ripped in several places and splattered with blood. Her eyes gleamed red. Hey, he used the proper terms now. Instead of, like, growing reed. The flames casting an evilly maniacal allure to her appearance? Oh. Bradley, I didn't know you were into that. Bowser and his 6 sons were tied to wooden poles with terrified looks on their faces. Wendy, for some reason, didn't appear anywhere in this game. In one hand, Peach brandished a sizable dagger. In the other, the blood whistle. She walked over to Bowser and looked him in the eyes. Technical limitations slightly hindered the interpretation of what events passed. Well, they haven't before! But it was easy enough to understand what was going on. Through his gag, Bowser pleaded with her not to harm him. She brought the knife close to him and he froze up. He was obviously paralyzed with fear. Her mouth got close to his ear, and text rolled along at the bottom of the screen, conveying the text of what played out, given the sound limitations. Oh, that was a monster of a sentence.
Yep.
This is what enabled Mario to speak in the past. Thank you for telling us now. Shh, she whispered. Bowser's innards spilled onto the floor in a great heap. He let out a monstrous 8-bit roar of pain as this happened. So, like... Notice she never stabbed him.
Oh.
His innards just spilled onto the floor.
Okay, so he pooped them out. Or regurgitated them.
No, between that and all of the regurgitation, I think the people of the Mushroom Kingdom really just need some Pepto-Bismol. I think that'll solve the problem.
I think this story can be called The Curse of Alestra.
Yeah.
It's just like coming out of every end at this point.
Grease whistle. Hear it leak. The princess proceeded to eviscerate all 6 of his other sons, but she didn't eviscerate one of the sons. Mario did nothing but look on in horror as his mortal enemies were torn apart by a woman he had once loved very much. Sure. His face soon contorted into one of loathing. He had come all this way to find out the very girl he wished to save had been taken over by an extraterrestrial evil? What?
Excuse me, what?
What? How the hell?
No aliens?
Last minute aliens again in one of these stories? That's what happened to the Mario 60 or Mario RPG story, right?
Yeah.
Is it the same dude writing this? Just
No!
the username.
No, this is much older. I know what they're going for. They're going for, like, eldritch entities from beyond the stars, right? But no, the way it's written just plays as literal aliens, like the Greys came down and made a Mario ROM hack to frighten this guy.
Apparently.
E.T. avoid copyright lawsuit.
E.T. play Mario. Mario. Yeah, I know. That's crazy.
Okay, sorry. An evil that would not only haunt Mario, but me as well. The sort of evil that doesn't go away when you turn off the game. The kind of dark force that follows you to your bed chambers and steals your soul. Princess Toadstool paused for a couple of seconds, then came at Mario with the knife. Hey there, Mario, she said as she toyed with the knife. They got a little sharp with me, so I pushed them over the edge.
Oh my.
I told you it keeps getting worse. I tried to move Mario, but nothing happened. He stood there, afraid of what she would do. She brutally slashed open his arms, legs, and abdomen. Shortly thereafter, the princess produced some salt from her billowing dress and sprinkled it all over him. He screamed again, unmoving. The Princess Peach you used to know is long gone. The power of the blood whistle consumed that girl and made way for me. And speaking of which, she continued as she produced the blood whistle. Here it is. Hear its cry. With a mocking kiss on the cheek, she began to play Mario the perverse song of the blood whistle. Its notes rotted away the last reserve of good in me. He was heaved by an invisible force into the flames. He cried out as they consumed him. Peach chucked the whistle, making it strike him directly in
Boink.
the heart. He continued to wallow in utter anguish as she walked away. As she laughed, he looked into my eyes and bore me this parting message via text at the bottom of the screen. Do not let your life be as painful as mine was. I do not hold reservations against you, as you tried your best to keep me alive. I commend you for that. Goodbye, Bradley, and good luck. The tune of the blood whistle continued to play as the screen panned out of Mario's hell. How he knew my name is Bradley continues to befuddle me. How could he have such depth, such personality?
Mario, why?
Mario's a deep character, you guys. You just don't understand his lore.
Oh yeah.
I don't know
Especially
whether
Mario
this is
from Super Mario 3.
right. I don't know whether this is a result of the game being as haunted as it truly is, or the fact that someone's could have been captured inside of this ROM. Someone's possessive. Okay. Whatever the reason of this, everything that has come to pass with this abomination, I'm glad I'm finally done. I hope one of you takes the time to save this blog, or at the very least, to show the world the true hell I've put myself through. I sure hope the demented creator of this game isn't festering in the same hell I'm headed for. Aftermath. This blog was the last recorded statement of Bradley before his death. His roommate discovered him 4 hours after he made the last post. Bradley committed suicide using a recorder that he plunged through his trachea. The end.
I'm just gonna comment, I'm just gonna recite the first comment. Good, 9 out of 10.
Yeah, that's the part I said might surprise you, but that's
You know
the
what,
only
though?
good
Since it was
comment.
posted on the LOL Pasta Wiki, I imagine they were reading this, or the Troll Pasta Wiki, sorry. They were reading this with the intent that they were going to be reading something that was silly or really poorly done. So maybe they were evaluating it on those merits, like, oh, I had a laugh, 9 out of 10. I hope. I hope.
I mean, it's a crappy pasta.
Wow.
Creepy pasta.
So what do we think of Blood Whistle, ladies and gentlemen? A nearly 2-hour epic audio drama with props and everything here on the Overanalysts Network.
You know what I think about it? You know what I think? I think I need a drink.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. I think that this was pretty bad, and the only thing that made it worse is the fact of how long it was, so it just amplified the badness tenfold.
Mm-hmm. It was very long.
Yeah.
There was that
Nothing made
little
sense.
tiny part that started to like sort of get better, and then no, just kidding. Back to back.
Just getting
couple of
aliens.
sections where they actually described what was different about individual stages, like the water stage and the ice stage.
Yeah.
Those were the best parts of the entire story.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if you had taken the NES Godzilla route with this, which I'll explain more in detail later, we might even want to do like a good creepypasta series just breaking down that story, because it's very long but very, very well written. Where there's multiple stages in each world, and you describe what's different subtly or dramatically about each of them without getting into the blood and guts and all that, and have a lot of things just be different and increasingly unsettling and like visceral as time goes on, when there's actual progression and escalation, you would make this 1,000 times more readable.
Yeah.
My biggest issue is that as of day 3, after playing through the blood whistled version of the first world, he is presenting everything to us as though it should shake us to our core, like with this deep existential terror.
And like in the end, the entire thing like made him kill himself, and it's like, why?
With a recorder.
Yeah, like, but why? That wasn't scary.
Blood
it was mildly
whistle.
disturbing.
Here it's no, that bit's actually kind of slapstick almost.
Yeah.
So when you don't allow for that escalation in your tone and in the presentation of your content, though, especially when you have a story this long. You know what happens? Like, bad grammar and composition, which was profuse, aside, it feels very, very, very bland and repetitive. Nothing that happened in World 4 really justified an entry separate from World 3, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
There was no...
different but the same.
Yeah, like, you could have eliminated... We didn't even do World 7. I think they must have just forgotten that one. You could have dropped 3 of those chapters and the story would have had exactly the same impact. It may even have been a little bit better.
Like, what was the point of bringing up, like, pentagram, Satanism, Illuminati, 666, like... It was like,
I have no earthly idea. Or him playing the recorder.
Yeah.
Why?
In the end, Cthulhu showed up, so, like, okay.
But didn't do anything. Just, ripped Mario apart. Also, why was Mario the most sensible character in this entire thing?
Yeah, like, Mario was practically sentient for some reason and was able to express a wide variety of emotions, considering it's an 8-bit game.
Mm-hmm. Everybody was.
Yeah.
I'd like to point out that his friend, right, the roommate, got him the ROM hack.
Todd, yeah.
Yeah. So maybe his roommate made the ROM hack, you know?
Oh yeah, he was like, please kill yourself, there you go.
And then killed him with a recorder.
Mm. Oh, and wrote all of those blog posts for him.
Yeah, and so Phoenix Wright is going to have to expose the truth in a high-pitched courtroom battle against a prosecutor who is also like an independent fan game creator.
Nice. And is Cthulhu.
Yes, of course. Actually, Ace Attorney versus the Cthulhu Mythos would be a game I would play in a heartbeat. What do we think? Could anything be done to improve that aside from just, like, completely reworking the tone?
Completely reworking it.
No, I don't think anyone can save that.
Yeah.
A lot of the prose was overly eloquent. They did use a remarkably diverse language and lexicon throughout.
But it seems they didn't know what it means. They just use it for the sake of sounding smart.
Again, they knew generally what a lot of those words meant, but they didn't know how they were to be used. Like, oftentimes the supporting clauses or words you would need to fit some of those more complex terms into a proper sentence, a compositionally sound sentence, were absent.
I just want to take a moment to appreciate this one comment that says, did at one point Dubious Dugong, which is the name of the author, remove the sentence comparing D-Day with a scary ROM hack because he thought it might have been too tasteless or something. Apparently he did have something like that in his like first version of the...
No,
there was still a reference to D-Day.
Yeah. And it says, I vaguely remember seeing him edit it fairly often in the recent activity before it got deleted. I never checked what he did, though, nor did I pay the slightest attention to the past at the time. So apparently, at some point, it was even more offensive than what they ended up with.
Yeah, I vaguely remember a version of this story that had more, like, real-world events or recollections going on. Like, I don't know, maybe one of his classmates killed themselves with a recorder when they were younger or something, and then the blood whistle comes back. I want to say that happened in one version of the story. Hold on. In fact, let me pull up Ye Old TV Tropes page to see if I...
I could potentially find an older version of it.
No, it's all right. Like, I will see. Trust me, it'll be mentioned there if it happens.
The entire creepypasta is so ridiculously bad. It's just a regurgitation of words. And I don't know.
Regurgitation of words.
Yes. Thank you. And I mean, I completely see why people were like, you know what? No, that's a little bit too much even for our crappy website. Just like eat it.
Yeah, it was like banished to a prison
it
colony.
Was banished
by the Illuminati.
God damn it!
So
Illuminati.
Yeah, poorly written. The grammar wasn't great, but I hate to say it was better than some of the stuff we've read. Worst story we've read on this program so far, overall?
Oh, by far.
Yeah, by far.
By far, but Brady.
Sir.
Here's the ghetto one.
No. No.
No. Please no. Blood
Was this
recorder.
run through Gizoogle?
I have no idea. Wait, is there any
Oh
comment?
my god.
Oh my god. Yeah, so it's Blood Whistle, but horribly racist.
Yeah.
Oh god. Yeah. I mean, we cannot read this, but
No. Oh
yeah.
my god.
Oh my
Like
God.
my fucking first encounter with the Blood Whistle.
No. I started this Snoop bloggy blog.
Let me see. No, this was run through Gizoogle. The application that translates any text entered into it into like 90s gangster rap-esque.
I want to
Let me
see
see.
what Peach told him at the end.
I'll play the last tomorrow, and then this Snoop bloggy blog will hopefully live on in my memory. Right back up in your motherfucking ass.
Oh my god. I like
my
the Peaches.
tribulation-
Yeah.
right back up in your motherfucking ass 3 times in one paragraph. Followed at one.
Dancing on rainbow.
Cold ass trachea.
Committed suicide.
But and the last thing that Bradley wrote is, "Shit, this ain't no joke. Peace out, everyone."
Oh my God.
Oh, let me see really quickly if there's any other gold I could find. How the fuck? Wait a minute. Talking about Mario, how the fuck his schmoove ass could have such depth, such personality? Thank you for joining us on this guided exploration of the depths of Mario's ass. This has been Blood Whistle, and technically Blood Recorder.
I'm gonna leave the links to both of them in the description.
Yeah. Feel free to comment and tell us which one is better.
Tell us your favorite lines from either.
Oh, yeah.
Either, yes. And
wait, sorry.
Yeah?
One more thing, I have to find the line about his grandfather. Hold on.
Wait.
My fucking grandfather took a dirt nap when I was little, yo, but didn't that close to equate with what the fuck I'm dealing with now? Know what I mean, biatch? Yeah, that's about as respectful as I was expecting.
Yep. Yeah, so, yeah, that was it for our reading of the Blood Recorder, and, right back up at your motherfucking ass, same time, same place next time.
You know that
Peace
shit,
out.
motherfucker. Take care, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us.
Bye, everyone.
Oh, Lord.